that February is Career and Technical Education Month, and it gives us a chance to kind of think about this topic and how it fits in with the world that we work with in out-of-school time programming. Career and technical education programs tend to be associated with school. They're designed to help youth learn the skills needed for careers in all kinds of fields like agriculture, food and natural resources, STEM, information technology, health science, or advanced manufacturing, hospitality, tourism. All these areas are considered part of technical education. In a lot of communities, partnerships and community engagement make it possible to really focus a technical education program on the needs of their community. And that's one of the things we will be talking about today as we explore what the role of out-of-school time programming is in this world of career and technical education. In today's knowledge-based and technology-based world, career and technical education is experiencing a renaissance. And out-of-school time programs are becoming more active in this area as they try to help prepare young people for an ever-changing future. In 2018, Education Week featured this growing emphasis on providing career-related experiences in out-of-school time programs. And I'll share a link to this article with you. It appeared in June of 2018, and it focused on what after-school programs were doing to help prepare students for technical careers, and what the role is in out-of-school time programs, not just for those programs that are working with high school age students, but also in elementary school and middle school. At all levels, after-school programs are great spaces to provide the skills that young people need to be successful in this area. We tend to think really of this being something that happens in high school, and it does. Career and technical education programs in high school do great service in preparing students to be college and career ready. They provide core academic skills, employability skills, technical and job-specific skills, experiences with being part of the workforce, and building the networks that will help students professionally as they enter college or enter the workforce. Research in Texas, Colorado, and Virginia showed that graduates with technical or applied science associate degrees, a two-year degree, out-earned bachelor degree holders by $2,000 to $11,000 in their annual salaries. And overall, 27% of people with an associate's degree out-earn those with a bachelor's degree. So this idea that every student needs to go to college is changing a little bit as we realize that for many students, a technical college or an associate's degree may give them a step up in the workforce that will actually prepare them for success throughout their life and give them a higher earning potential and let them do it without spending as much on higher education. So this is a role, I think, especially for programs that deal with students who are low-resourced economically. This may be an alternative to a four-year college degree that would better suit their needs and help prepare them for success. In 2014, the states that awarded the most career and technical education credentials were California, Florida, Texas, New York, and Illinois. If you're in one of those states, there may already be a strong network around career and technical education that you can connect to and see how your program could fit into that network. If not, you may need to take a role in building a network that is focused on career and technical education and takes an ecosystem approach that looks at the role of different parts of the community in preparing students for success, not just their high school or technical school. One way to think about career and technical education specifically for out-of-school time programs is to think about it in terms of youth development. And I've got the 5 C's or 6 C's model here of youth development based on the work of Richard Lerner, I'm sorry. And as we think about career and technical education in terms of its contribution to youth development, it's useful to know that 81% of high school dropouts say that real-world skills-based education would have kept them in school. So if one of the goals of your program is to really support students in staying in school, this sort of technical education may be really beneficial. If 81% of students who are dropping out of school say they would have stayed if they had more skill-based or technical learning experiences. 80% of career and technical education students say that their career and technical education classes helped them know where they were headed. So even if that's not your explicit goal of your program to focus on career and technical education, you can use these experiences to focus on youth development, to help students build their confidence and competence, their sense of confidence and competence in themselves, their ability to know how to act effectively in school, in social situations, and at work. You can also use career and technical education experiences to increase a sense of connection and contribution to their community. They can see how they can contribute to their community in meaningful ways through local technical education experiences that are focused on the needs of the actual community that they're living in. And these experiences, as they build their confidence and their connection, will help students stay in school and complete high school. So even if your program is really just all about youth development, not so much about preparing students for college, this is really an area you might want to consider changing or adding to your efforts in this area to support students in an important way that contributes to their overall development as it prepares them for college and career. So, assuming I've convinced you that you can incorporate some of this technical education into your out-of-school program, where should you start? Excuse me. Well, I recommend this 2017 research brief from After School Alliance, Building Workforce Skills in After School. It's a great starting place, and I'll share that link with you in a little bit. It will help you see the wide range of ideas that you can use in your out-of-school time program to incorporate workforce development and technical education at all levels, from elementary school through middle school and high school. I'm going to start by thinking about what this looks like in out-of-school programs that serve high school youth, because that's what most people think of when they think in terms of technical education. So we can start there as a common starting place, but we're not going to stop there. We're going to keep going, and the report does too, in thinking about how these experiences belong throughout students' educational experiences, not waiting until they get to high school to think about career education and experiences. So, starting with high school students, what can out-of-school time programs do to contribute to their career and technical education? First of all, it's really good to know what's happening, what opportunities are available in your local schools, and to talk to the technical education instructors and find out where they would like to build some connections. The other people to talk to are technical schools, community colleges, and local employers to think about what the needs are and how they would like to connect with students. One opportunity that out-of-school programs have that some school day programs can't do is to really connect students with local employers and provide some real-world experiences through career exploration, mentoring, and internships, where students can take part of those after-school hours and spend them in the workplace, building their skills, building their networks, and learning more about a particular field that they're interested in. We have some staff development resources from Click to Science that can really help prepare your staff to work with mentors or other experts that come into your program to provide these sort of experiences and career connections for young people, and also to help your staff prepare themselves to talk to young people about their career options. So my favorite resource is one we're going to look at a little bit later in the webinar. It's called Role Playing Informal Career Conversations. And it gives you an opportunity to talk to your staff about what connections they can help students make around careers, and also prepare them in 15 minutes or less to have some of those conversations. Other resources that you might want to look at are explaining a variety of STEM careers, one of the video learning modules at clicktosciencepd.org. It will help staff see this skill in action of having informal conversations with youth about career options and connecting it to the activities that they're doing in after school. Bringing in the Experts is another great video that focuses on helping staff understand their role in working with mentors and how they can support mentors who come into your program or other experts that come into the program and help enhance their programming. All of these resources, again, are available at clicktosciencepd.org, and I will post the links to them when I post a recording of the webinar. In middle school, after-school programs can help young people focus on developing the skill set, the skills that they need to set and achieve their personal goals, to explore career pathways, and to develop leadership skills. So in middle school, you might be focusing more on exploring different ideas, trying out a lot of different things, having some experiences that they can decide if they want to build on those through more technical education into high school. But middle school is really an opportunity to introduce students to a lot of different types of experiences, including some technical education. Click to Science resources that you might find useful in working with middle school students is the video learning module and staff coaching guide called Like a Real Engineer. That one has some good ideas about how to help students try on that role of being an engineer, and how to help staff try on the role of making career connections with young people. That resource, that coaching guide, introduces the idea of setting a SMART goal, which is a strategy for personal development, and is introduced there as a strategy for staff to set their own goals to grow professionally. But it's also a great strategy to introduce to students as they're working on setting goals and achieving goals. So that one is Like a Real Engineer, and you might want to look at that for both those reasons. Another great resource is a training guide called Connecting Learning Activities to STEM Careers, which guides you through that process of how do you help students see the careers that might be connected to the activity that you're doing in your program. And then there's a video learning module called What Do STEM Professionals Do? That gives you another chance to think about how to help build those connections for youth in middle school programs. In elementary programs, the focus isn't as much on exploring careers as it is on building skills. The skills for success that they're going to need regardless of what their pathway is. Skills that will help them be successful in schooling, in middle school and high school, and on into college, and also prepare them for work. So after school and out of school programs for elementary age students should focus on building communication skills, giving them opportunities to work in small groups and learn how to reach a consensus together in a group setting. Learning the skills that will let them be effective members of a team, as soon as possible can really help you stretch themselves, see how capable they are, and increase their performance in school, because they will be expected to have these skills for working together with others all through school, long before they reach college or the workplace. So that's a great starting place for youth in elementary after-school programs. So you might want to look at some of the Click to Science resources on supporting collaborative learning. But there are also resources on making connections to STEM careers that will be helpful for your staff at this level. One of my favorites is STEM Careers Rock, and that helps you think about what are the pathways that you can help a student understand the path from where they are now to a career that they might be interested in. And there's also a video learning module called Trying Out Career Roles. And this image here is from that video module. It's how do you set up a STEM activity where you try out different roles. In this activity, you have people who are the geologists who work on the bottom part of their pan, the substrata, the surface that they're going to build on. And then you have youth who are architects who help build the structure, who do the planning. You have a leader who is a project manager for the group and helps keep everything coordinated. So they try out these different roles through the STEM activity, and you're introducing them to a possible career area and also helping them build those skills to work collaboratively that are going to really set them up for success later in life, whether it's just in the next few years or on into their career. So there's a lot of resources that you can use. The one that I mentioned first was role-playing informal career conversations. And I wanted to start with that one as an opportunity for you to see what this professional development might look like and how you can use it with your staff. So we're going to watch this video, and as you watch the video, well, let me step back. So the resource is Role-Playing Informal Career Conversations. This is a very short 15-minute professional development experience for staff, so it doesn't take very long, and all you need to do to prepare for leading this experience is to have a way to share this video that we're going to watch together with the whole group. You're going to share a video, discuss some of the ideas that they see in the video, and then give them an opportunity to do some role playing together with a partner. And that's your experience. It's really easy to implement, doesn't take very long at all. As everyone arrives, you're just going to introduce the topic. You might tell them a little bit about what career technical education is, and I'll share those links at the end of the webinar if you want some more background information. And let them know how it fits into your program. In our program, we're going to focus on helping youth learn to work together as that prepares them for a career. Or we're going to try each time we do a STEM activity to build in some career connections. So we're going to watch this video, and we're going to watch how this educator facilitates those discussions with young people. So as we watch the video, pay attention to what he's doing. What is his advice about how to prepare yourself for this discussion? And maybe jot down some questions that you hear him using in the video that you think would be helpful to use with your students or as you're having these sort of conversations. Let me switch our sharing here to share the video with you. Be sure you take some notes as you're watching this. Look for ideas for questions and how you can incorporate those into conversations with young people.
So today we're going to talk about wearable technologies. Pretty cool, right? Wearable technologies. What does that mean to you all?
Because wear something electronic.
Yeah, wear something electronic.
Youth are exposed to a variety of careers that relate to the Incredible Wearables Challenge. Watch as Dagan discusses and engages youth in thinking about the many different STEM careers that are related to wearable technologies.
Depending on the type of activity you're doing, you might think about what type of careers might connect to it, what kind of jobs are needed. So if you're doing something with high altitude balloons and you're thinking about, okay, so what does it take to make this thing, right? You can think of all the careers just to make that product. You can think of all the thinkers that go into that, so like physicists and the problem solving that it took to build that thing. So you can think about it on a couple of different levels and just kind of have that in the back of your mind. So what type of careers do you think are involved in making wearable technology happen?
Not technically all, but most jobs like marketing, coding, engineering, and stuff like that.
Okay, cool, thank you. What else?
Engineering and craftsmanship.
Oh, some crafting going on too? Yeah.
App development.
Oh, so there's lots of careers, and we're going to kind of, as we work, we're going to talk about how some of those ideas that you talked about, I heard some dietitian from this group, some doctors. So I want to infuse those as we discuss, like how does a dietitian use this information? We're going to talk about that as we go.
I like assembling it because just the fact that it's connecting and like the idea of it like working together to make something as a whole is really beneficial.
I heard you talk about assembly. What do you think of careers now in assembly, like putting things together?
I think like if you're a manufacturer or any type of engineer, especially like when there's jobs that are making computers or any type of other products, you need a big group of people and nice materials to be able to make certain products that work well.
And do you think, well, what are the people involved in that assembly process right now? Because right now we have robots assembling a lot of the things in today's world. So what other careers do we need to make those robots work?
Engineers for those robots.
Right, engineers for sure, right?
Make the robots do the work.
To make career connections, listen to the student, hear what they're saying, and ask the kid. Having the conversation puts the idea of career and job and their interest in the forefront of their mind. So that's valuable. As young as we want to go, we can be like, what kind of job do you want to do? A lot of times they say doctor. We can ask them, how would a doctor think about this problem? And start having them think about that career aspiration.
We are good. Our cables are still in, and the heart rate has gone up 63, but no one's done anything.
That's a beat, that's a beat. Does that look like anything to you guys that you've seen on TV or anything like that? A heart monitor, an EKG or something like that? To come up with all this, what type of careers do you think need this type of information? Pulse.
A doctor.
Doctor like a nurse.
A
Nutrition.
a trainer like a
Physical
I
trainer.
can't think
Physical trainer?
I mean,
Physical
physical,
trainer.
personal. What physical trainer?
With some illnesses, like I don't know, like sometimes diabetes, like
Okay. Oh,
people with high
so
blood pressure, like they need to make sure that it's.
yeah, for sure. So that health, the health component is huge when we can just look at the heart.
Now, I'd like to have you open up the chat box and share some ideas in there. What were some of the questions or the prompts that you saw in the video that would be helpful to think about as you're working with students? Share your ideas in the chat box as we're going. I don't see anybody typing yet. Can you hear me? So one of the things that really struck me in the video was when Dagan said it's important to listen to the students and hear what they are saying. And you could tell that his perspective was if you were listening to them and you really focusing on what it was that students were saying, then you would be able to make some connections that are really important to them, meaningful to them. So you could ask the probing questions that would help them make a personal connection that was important to them. When he talked about manufacturing and the idea of robots doing the manufacturing, then that brought in a whole new set of careers that they hadn't necessarily thought of as being related to manufacturing. The students were interested in the idea of programming robots, and that was a good link for them. I'm going to go back to our PowerPoint here. So after you've had this, you've watched the video together, you've had a little bit of a discussion, just a couple of minutes really, about what they saw in the video, what they noticed. That's always a good question to start with. You divide the group into pairs and you give them a little bit of time to take turns role-playing, having a conversation with young people about the career connections of an activity that they're doing. It's helpful for your staff, especially if they're not quite comfortable with the topic, to give them a specific activity that they might be familiar with, something that you've done before. The activity in this video is the 2017 National Youth Science Day Challenge. And if it's something that your staff are familiar with, you could use that as an activity for them to start their conversation around. The other piece of information that I find helpful when we're doing the training is to remind staff to think about their 15-year-old self and to answer the questions as their 15-year-old self would have when they're role-playing. Or if you're working with younger students, have them think of their 10-year-old self and how their 10-year-old self would have responded to those questions. That just makes the role-playing a little bit more helpful for staff to really get a response that might be what they could expect from a student. So they can think about, what is the question I'm going to ask? And then how am I going to follow up on that question? It's not just one question. It's maybe the follow-up that's the most important part. So you're going to give them just a couple of minutes for each person in the group to practice that a little bit. And then you wrap up the discussion with some ideas of what they can take away and ask everyone to try it out, to ask one of the students in your program about their career interest in the next week. And you can bring them back together and hear what they've learned. But it's a really short and easy professional development that introduces this idea of supporting students in their career aspirations and helping them build their confidence about what they can do going into their life. And the link to that resource is in the chat box, and we'll also share it with the recording. Now, there are a lot of resources that you can use for Career and Technical Education Month. There's resources that are really designed for schools, but a lot of them are also going to be helpful for your after-school program. So I'll share that link one more time so you can find that if you want to look at what those resources are. Even if you're not focusing on career and technical education in your program, you might take advantage of the opportunity this month to have some of these conversations and to just let your community know that this is something you're interested in and what your program is doing already in this area. Use social media or traditional media to get the word out about what you're doing to promote career exploration or building the skills for success. Employers repeatedly say that communication and problem-solving skills are the things they're most looking for in their new workers. and you're probably already doing activities that support developing communication and problem-solving skills. So highlight those. Let people know that that's something you're doing. Second thing you can do, reach out to career and technical educations in your local high schools and your community college. Find out what they're offering. Find out if maybe you could bring students there as a field trip to see what's being offered in their high school to help get them excited about those opportunities. Or maybe you even could find a partner in the high school that would be interested in doing a special interest club, spending maybe a quarter learning about baking cakes and have a cake making club in your program. Anything like that that can build those connections. So think about your high school and your community college as potential partners in bringing that into your program. In addition to the courses in high school and technical college, find out if they have clubs. Clubs like DECA, FBLA, FFA, HOSA, or Skills USA are all opportunities that might be available in your local schools. And if you know what those opportunities are, it'll help you prepare students to look forward to those experiences, to get them excited about the things that they can do when they're in high school, to help them see that as something positive, something they're looking forward to. And you may be able to encourage those clubs to engage with the youth in your program through some sort of hands-on experiences. These clubs are often looking for community service opportunities. They might be able to do that with your program. Fourth thing you can do this month is take out a few minutes out of your time with your staff to do that role-playing informal career conversations, just to be a general introduction to your staff about how career conversations are possible, how they can facilitate those with young people when they're leading STEM activities. So it's not necessarily doing something new or different, but just a little bit more intentional conversation incorporated into your activities that are focusing on careers. Here's what I want you to take away from our time today. First, the big idea is that career and technical education can fit into any after-school program, regardless of the age of the students that you work with. And they benefit the youth in your program in significant ways. Starting in elementary school, you can build skills that are going to help students be successful all the way through their schooling and into their career selection, to help them be better employees when they go out into the workforce, help them be better students now. The other thing you can do is build relationships in your community that let you grow your program and increase your offerings in this way, especially if you're working with older students or at-risk students. Career and technical education experiences keep young people in school, help them finish their high school, get their degree, and prepare them for the next step. So those are important, especially for those students who are at risk of not completing their high school program. If you have any more questions, reach out to us at Click to Science, and I would be happy to talk with you about this topic. I'm going to stop our recording now and give you a chance to share what your experience and expertise is.